Today we're talking about a lovely quest called Setup. I usually make this video a little bit later, but people keep asking me about it, and it is quite early on in the progression now on Skier, so here we go. Setup is that one quest where you have to dress up in a scav vest and a Ushanka hat and kill players with the MP series shotguns. It's not as bad as it used to be because it now is only 8, but I know people still really struggle with this task. So first things first, they've added a new barter that makes this quest a little bit easier. If you go and look for Ushankas, you'll see that there is actually now a barter for a brown-handled knife. This comes from Ragman, and yes, you can buy the brown-handled knives on the flea market, but it's actually just better to go to Fence. Go into melee weapons on there, make sure you move the scroll bar because it's kind of bugged right now, and you can buy brown-handled knives directly from him here. As for the scav vests, it's Jaeger who has the barter that you want to look at for that, which is the Slickers one. This has been around for ages. You can technically get Slickers also on the flea, or you can trade them for Vita Juices, or you can craft them in the Nutrition Unit level 2 if you've got that far, but bear in mind they've actually changed the barter on this. This used to be the packet of oat flakes, but now it is a packet of army crackers instead, which you can buy from Therapist, and then one of these Alyonkas, and that gets you 5 Slickers chocolate bars. So what's the biggest problem with the Ushanka? Well, you can't wear any headsets while you've got this on, which is really annoying. BSG have basically flip-flopped on this over multiple years. You used to be able to wear the GSSH with it, but now they've reverted that back again, and you can't wear anything at all with it. With one exception, there is the new Arena Battle Pass TEP 300s, which are these in-ears. You can actually wear these with the Ushanka. Now, I did do a whole video, I'll link that above, where I did the new headset testing, did it for this wipe, and we looked at suppressors and everything else, but I did look at the TEP 300s in that particular video, and as far as I can tell, they don't actually increase your hearing range at all. They just change the EQ a little bit, so maybe that's worth it for you. I don't think it's worth spending 100k or buying for 11 GP coins off ref. That's a choice that you're going to have to make. As for weapons, you need to use an MP series shotgun, and there are a few choices like the double barrel and stuff, but there really are only 3 real choices. You have the MP153, which is my favorite because of the top rail mounted sight that you get for it. You have the 155, and these two are both good because they're actually properly semi-auto, and they have a really fast fire rate. The last one, which is a bit of a wild card, is the MP18. This one still surprises people that this counts as a shotgun. You can see it actually is a shotgun according to the in-game stat. But the MP18 is a weird weapon and is a bit of a hybrid, so this counts for Shooterborn in Heaven as well as Setup. So if you're kind of trying to metagame your questing, try to get Shooterborn in Heaven lined up first, take an MP18 with you as well, and you might be able to get some kills scoring for both of those quests at the same time. I'll quickly show you my build for the 153. So the most important thing about the 153 is to make sure that you have a bigger magazine. You can buy this on Jaeger level 2, and usually the biggest that you can get at that point is the MP153 7-shell mag, so you should always put this on and use that as a bare minimum. Otherwise, the best one after that, once you get to Jaeger 3 I think it is the MP133 8-shell mag. This one has a lot more ergonomics on it than the 153, gives you +3 over this 7-shell rather than -1 versus the MP153, and people do sometimes sell these on the flea market, so you can grab them if you're really desperate. I normally only do it when it's cheap though. From here, the ribbed barrel allows you to attach this little thing, the target ring, to the stock gun without having to fiddle with anything, and I really like this sight. It's the one that I use all the time with all the multi-pellet or multi-dart cartridges, and technically this is all you really need. If you want to reduce the recoil a little bit, you can put the cylinder 12 gauge on, and then on top of that you can add this guy, the GKO2, and that'll take your recoil down to 195 from 230. It doesn't really matter with the shotguns, the recoil is really high anyway. One thing that can help is if you add a sprut onto here, you can then attach yourself a laser or a flashlight. Flashlights are good for blinding people in CQB, and lasers are good at figuring out exactly where your spray pattern is going when you're mid-burst. You also benefit from the point fire improvements a bit with an actual flashlight. As a reminder, if you're using a ring, these flashlights do not count for improving your point fire. I literally went and tested this yesterday on stream, so that does not count, whereas if you're using something that attaches directly to the sprut, any of these, when they're turned on, will count for the point fire bonus, including things that are on IR mode. So that includes stuff like the WMX200, the Clash 2 IKS, which is one I've been using quite a lot just to get better point fire on various automatic weapons. But on the shotgun, it doesn't really matter too much. I did a little experiment. It does make the spread a bit tighter when you're spamming, but you don't really need it. So if you really want to min-max setup, you either just take 2 of these, because it's a lot faster to swap to another 153 than it is to reload the full magazine, because you have to reload them 1 cartridge at a time. Or alternatively, you take 1 MP153 and you also take an MP18. This is the break action rifle, so you only get 1 shot at a time on it, which is a bit rough. You add the little MP18 sight mount, and then you can add all kinds of different scopes. One of the earliest and cheapest ones that I quite like using requires attaching this short mount here. This is also the one for the ACOG, so you can pick an ACOG too if you like. You can easily just go through and do a linked search on this and look at sights in general and just pick whichever one's the cheapest. So here you can see the ACOGs are actually pretty cheap as well. But Skier sells these for 20k. I think he's on reset right now, which is why I can't buy it. But normally these things are the cheapest, so it's up to you really. I use the Prism a lot. You also get some Swamp Fox Tri-Hawks for doing various missions, and these are usually quite cheap on the flea market as well once you can buy them. So really anything that you choose up here is quite good. The Bravo is another one that you might want to look at because you can barter this with Peacekeeper for a bottle of whiskey. So ammo wise for the 153, we've got a couple of different choices. There's really 3 schools of thought here. You've either got buckshot, and buckshot split broadly into 2 categories. You've got 525 buckshot, 6.5mm express, which is the fastest one, and 7mm buckshot. Doesn't really matter which you use, they're all basically the same. 6.5mm express buckshot is the fastest, but its damage reduces the quickest because it's the fastest. However, it does have 1 extra projectile of 9. 7mm buckshot does the most damage at base and drops off in a medium amount, whereas 5.25 buckshot actually drops off the slowest, so it has a very slightly further reach, technically speaking, in terms of damage. They're all very, very similar. It doesn't really matter which you pick. Magnum buckshot kind of sits on its own a little bit because this is only available at Jaeger 3. It does a hell of a lot more damage at 50 per pellet, and it has 8, so that's a total of approximately 400. The biggest problem with Magnum that throws people off is the recoil is plus 115. So if you use Magnum a lot and you're used to Magnum, then this is fine. If you're used to other different types of cartridge like I am, such as Flechette and Piranha that we're going to talk about in a second, using one of these might be better because these feel exactly the same as shooting Piranha or Flechette out of a shotty. So speaking of Piranha, this is my favorite choice. This is on Jaeger 2. This has 10 projectiles that deal 25 damage each, so quite a bit less than the buckshots, but it has a pen of 24, so it can actually go through armor. The important thing to remember about Piranha and Flechette as well, which is its bigger brother that it's difficult to buy until Jaeger 3, is that every single individual dart is calculated separately. So the first dart at 24 pen, it won't go through, say, a class 4 armor, but what it'll do is do some armor damage. Then dart number 2 will be calculated with slightly lower armor durability, and then dart 3 and dart 4 and dart 5 and so on. So you can find quite quickly that Piranha actually ends up going through class 4 armor relatively easily in not that many shots because it has 10 projectiles. This is especially true if you hit center of mass, and it's also, with a 24 pen, quite good at going through neck armors, which can only normally be class 2 or class 3. Flechette is better, it loses 2 projectiles, but you don't normally have access to this at the point of doing setups, normally Piranha. I did all of mine with Piranha. The 31 pen helps a little bit more with some of the higher end helmets and higher end armors, but it just means you can just shoot a little bit less with Flechette than you do with Piranha. Technically, Piranha has more damage overall though because of this pellet difference. Don't expect this stuff to work miracles. You do have to be pretty close. You do have to get a lot of shots on target for it to work. But I often find that once you've sprayed people with a couple of shells of this, they've got black arms, black legs, black stomachs, and it really causes them difficulty. So it makes it hard for them to fight back. The third possibility are these slugs. Now there are a lot of slugs in the game, and I think most of them are pretty bad. Usually they're of this form. Lots of damage and relatively low pen, which means that you are kind of going for leg shots because if you go for the face, like yeah, you can shoot them in the head, but it makes it very difficult because of the slow rate of fire. You don't get that many chances. Plus if you hit a class 3 helmet, it's going to bounce off. So I don't really like slugs that much at all. The better ones are probably the ones with the higher penetration on them. These are things like Makeshift BMG, which you can only get at Jaeger 3, but this has 26 pen, which is, I guess, okay. But other than that, you're into things like FTX Custom Light, which can be gotten at Jaeger 2, but it's only 20 pen. I just find this really, really hard to use. Best shotgun shell is AP20. Now this will actually work at this point of the wipe because people are wearing class 4 armor, and I will show you a little trick here, which is that you can actually go and buy AP20 slugs. I'm not sure if this is intended, but you can buy them in boxes. This only gives you 25, but this is about 800, 900 around, something like that. So if you do like slugs, AP20s are definitely worth using because they deal 37 pen and 164 damage. This gives you about a 50-50 chance to go through class 4, and if it does, they die. You can also buy Flechette this way in theory as well. As for the MP18, the best you're going to do is on Preport 2, which is 762x54R FMJ, which is 36 pen. Honestly, this is not bad. This is a 50-50 through class 4 helmet, so this is actually okay. At level 3 Preport, you're now looking at T46M, which is 41 pen. This is pretty much a guaranteed pen through class 4 helmets. And you might find stuff like LPS in Raid, because sometimes scavs have those. For the MP18, I would say basically just use the best bullets that you can, because if you do hit somebody with this thing in the head, you really want it to work. As for the strategy, well, obviously you have to play on customs. I think the strategy is a little bit difficult to explain because a lot of the time what I do is I just tend to roam around. Obviously you don't really want to be fighting over long distances. This time I actually didn't bother with the MP18, so I just went in close range to try to fight people. What I would say, things that are going to kill you is lack of mobility. I don't really like being inside. I often fight people outside with this. Having lots of tree cover and bushes is really handy. I fought quite a few squads and it causes complete devastation and confusion. Lots of foliage around is really important. The other part that's important about your mobility is when you're engaging in a fight, you must make sure that you are on painkillers. Otherwise, if you get shot in the leg, you are just going to die. There is nothing that you can do otherwise. And now that you can put these back in your secure container, it's pretty much become mandatory for PvP to do this, which I think is really unfortunate. However, it's just the game that we have to play, so there we go. In my opinion, the best one for this is ibuprofen because it stacks up to 8, and it means you only need to take in bottles of water to fix the problem, which is the dehydration that it causes. Alternatively, golden stars and vaselines will do, but you just have to mind your energy as well with those. And often I will take a pack of analgin painkillers just in my hotbar as well, in case I get into a sticky situation or the painkiller runs out at a really annoying time and I need to be able to press the button and use it without going into my inventory. If you're struggling with those meds, then I would say at least have a pack of analgins with you and use it before you cross into busy areas or while you're chasing shots before you go into engage. You can take lots of water with you and you can run the water bottles down to 1 out of 60. Just make sure you don't put 59 out of 60 when you're drinking it in game, because sometimes it'll drink the whole thing, so use 57 or 58 or something. And with the water collector level 1, you can actually refill these when you get back to the stash. So if you're not doing any looting and you're just using the water bottles in your secure container, you can fill them back up without having to buy more from Therapist. Other than this, I've basically just been using Piranha, just trying to sow chaos in amongst other people. When you hear gunshots, just try to take the safe-ish path you can through the map to go and see where they are and see what's going on, and then get yourself into a close enough range and give them a good blast. Given the Ushanka means you can't wear a headset, I tried to stop being sneaky, to be honest with you. If you're running around, other people are going to hear you first, so you only really need to be sneaky if you know exactly where other people are. You can see them, for example, or you can hear them shooting. So in that situation, you can potentially sneak up on them, but you just got to remember that they're going to be able to hear you further than you can hear them. So with that, let me show you how my setup kills went this wipe, so maybe you can learn something or take something away from how I've played these different situations, and hopefully you get it done in a timely manner. I think. I can't remember when it used to be there. I normally don't find the flash drives this early, but it seems the spawns for everything are just like through the roof. Oh, it's a 3-man. I wasn't expecting the guy to be in the window. Like, who goes into that building? Ouch. Pretty funny, though. Any more? Was there another one? I feel like there might have been another one. Bless you, thank you for the tier 1. Is that just a scav? That made me jump. That's scavs. I still feel like there's another guy. Scav as well. Everyone's gangster till they get tube dumped by an MP153. You'll still get stressed in this game? Yeah, definitely. Especially moments like that. It's good though. That's why we like playing it. Heart rate monster stream, man. I should get one, it'd be fun. I'm pretty sure one went with his tail between his legs on the other side of the train. I'm almost certain. Where would I be hiding if I was a Timmy and lost my teammates? Where are these? We gotta go third party, that's surely. Only got one more ibuprofen. A guy down here. Gotta be right. Right in this corner. Just sat on his mate's bodies or something? In this hole or something? No way, man. Any more, or make that 3 Steve reviews? One of them took the other guy's dog tag. It's like it knows. Oh. You've poked the bear, my man. ADS speed in this thing is actually really, really horrible. Where'd you go, buddy? Where did he go? How did I not kill him? That was poor. Ow. I run out of stamina. We need more stamina. How's he not dead? What the hell? There is 2, yeah. wait, that's just a scav. Yeah, one did, yeah. I don't know about the second one, though. There we go. Frames you getting? Normal, and then like 50 when I look up towards them. Oh, setup ready to be complete. That's a BFC. I feel for like, I really do think 12 kills and 3 of them being players. I feel like that should be more, no? Like 2,000 damage dealt to body. I feel like that should be more than 4,900 XP.